I got nothing.
Going deaf in that old age.
Huh?
What? Who said that?
Who there?
Hello?
All I know is if I hear the old Nokia ringtone in the middle of the woods, I'm running the other way.
If I hear anything in the middle of the woods, we've established how much I don't like to go out in the woods anymore.
All right, we get 250 followers on Facebook. We will take a trip into the middle of the woods and look for skinwalkers.
Yes. we could go back to the farm where my parents live at and just, oh boy, those woods back there would be scary.
Just antagonize them.
Just because of the rednecks.
Skinwalkers are rednecks, confirmed. So I was thinking, and I don't know why I got on this tangent in my head, but I was at work and I was, making my rounds and things like that. And I was thinking, like, what is the most insignificant conspiracy theory that you buy into wholeheartedly 100%? Do you want to hear mine first?
Sure.
That mobile game ads are intentionally terrible to make you buy the game, to make you want to prove that you're not as dumb as as the people playing the game in the app.
They intentionally infuriate you so that you go, well, I can do better than that.
Yeah.
So that you'll download the game.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I'm on board for that one. I think about that all the time. Like there's so every night before I go to sleep, I do the Wordscapes game where you're just like it's like a word puzzle. You're just solving for words. I do that to try to hopefully help my mind.
Train your brain.
Yeah, but they have a bunch of those ads in the midst of that game, and
because any time that I spent any significant amount of time on like a mobile game, I try to see if it's on Apple Arcade first.
Right.
Because I have the Apple Arcade subscription, so there's no ads or anything like that. But yeah, so that's my minor conspiracy theory.
What was it? What's that one? Brooke downloaded the stupid game where you're doing the matching things where you're trying to save the king, the royal.
Oh, Royal Match?
Is it Royal Match is what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah,
I told her, I was like, I couldn't do that. The number one, the cheesiness of the king and the situations you get. Yeah. I hate it. So, anyways, no, that's a good one.
Like I said, it doesn't have to be like obviously we didn't land on the moon. The Earth is hollow.
Yeah.
There's
birds aren't real.
Birds aren't real. Like obviously those ones are all true. We all know that. So, consider a soccer ball.
So I have a bunch of like conspiracy theory things that I think are just like more serious in a sense. Like oh man, this is gonna put me on some like weird lists in a sense, but
like we aren't already. Let's go.
So I totally believe the conspiracy theory that toothpaste and some of the things that we use to take care of our teeth, and I want to be clear, I do brush my teeth. I brush very well.
Right.
I floss. I do all those kinds of things. I don't floss as often as I should, but I take care of my teeth in the sense of what they say we're supposed to do.
Uh-huh.
But I believe that the toothpastes and some of the products that we use to take care of our teeth are actually bad for our teeth, and it's a combination of the dentists and those companies.
What that fifth dentist knows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 4 out of 5 dentists recommend this product.
Yeah, I want to know.
That fifth guy knows what's up.
He's got something.
He's
going
on to it. No, it's
all the microplastics.
That's kind of probably like my, I think, big everyday one in a sense. I jokingly, do the whole birds aren't real and stuff like that, but that's one that I'm like, nah, that's like dead serious.
Yeah.
Like I said, I still brush my teeth and stuff like that. But like when I get done brushing my teeth, and I don't know, for what it's worth, you don't take my word on this because I'm not a dentist or a doctor or anything along those lines. But like when I finish brushing my teeth every time, I rinse with water and spit out the excess like toothpaste and stuff because I don't think that it's good for that stuff.
Yeah,
to just
I
be
will actually
on your teeth.
I will continue to brush my teeth with just water until I don't rinse.
Yeah,
I will just continue to brush until my mouth's like all the toothpaste and stuff is gone.
I usually just like use my toothbrush to get some water into my mouth and swish it around a little bit and spit it out. But
yeah, I mean I'll do the mouthwash and stuff too because I'm bad about flossing.
Yeah,
but I will at least, especially if I'm sick, I will just do mouthwash. Like when I have strep throat and stuff like that, like I will only do mouthwash because I'm not like, especially if I like had just opened a brand new toothbrush, like I'm not going to buy a new toothbrush just because I had strep throat.
Oh yeah, yeah, right. Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just going to do mouthwash. So
hey, if you're a listener out there and you floss like on the regular, like morning and night or whatever, just man, props to you.
Yeah.
That's one of the most wild things that when I talk to somebody and they're like, no, I floss religiously all the time. I'm like, how do you?
Speaking of flossing, did you see the thing where it's like, the floss picks that they have now, like are the new cigarette butts?
Oh, they're fine. Like see them laying everywhere.
Yeah, laying everywhere.
Gosh.
Like those are the new cigarette butts because everybody switched to e-cigs, so.
And they're worse for the environment.
Yeah,
so you gotta love that.
Yeah, exactly, because they don't degrade.
Gosh,
yeah,
you gotta love it here, man.
Good humanity. All right, so let's before we get into the full episode, let's go through our questions.
Okay.
All right. So number one, I'm sorry, on the list it was.
Let's clarify real quick because I don't think we've like officially said it. But this was from the previous episode.
Yes.
These are the phrases that Josh gave to me that are old school phrases that I tried to guess what the meanings of them were. And so Josh is now going to tell us what the actual meaning of each of these phrases is.
So if you are listening to this and have not listened to our previous episode, stop, go back, listen to the previous episode, and continue playing from right here. So I asked Josh what the bee's knees were, and the bee's knees are something or someone who is outstanding or excellent. So that's
kind of right. Like,
yeah.
it's like the best of
the
whatever
best
it is.
of. So this is like 1920s slang. All right. So the next one was a little bit more obscure. So hotter than a $2 pistol. So one of your answers was finding out of the buying a gun out of the back of a car in Chicago. Which tied into the episode before that. So
yeah.
But it is something exciting or fast moving, but is slightly shady. So again, we got there. We got there.
I was close.
All right. So the second one was
definitely different than my first opinion, which was like that it was cheaply made.
Yeah,
and
like shoddy. And
heat up on
like
you or
that.
whatever.
Yeah. Number 3 was don't take any wooden nickels, which really threw Josh for a loop.
Yeah,
because he's like,
it's either counterfeiting or people getting beat to death with wooden nickels in a sock.
Which honestly, with the first one, you were closer.
Okay.
Don't take any wooden nickels as a way of saying be careful or don't get tricked.
Okay.
So I think like a lot of stuff, like especially like carnivals, things like that, like they have the tokens, and you could easily swap out wooden nickels. That's with the whole Olympics why the runners or whoever won the gold medals, they would always bite the medal to make sure it was real.
Yeah.
So that's like an actual thing. So that was the early 1900s. All right. After that, we went into giggle water, which Josh thought was like soda water or anything like that. It actually comes from Prohibition era. It's actually referring to alcohol.
Okay.
So
I kind of thought in that direction, but it seemed that, at least to me at that point in time, it seemed a little too obvious. But sometimes the obvious is what it is.
Exactly. It's like at work, I always say I always want to go with my first answer of where to put something instead of guessing and being wrong. All right. So the next one was a tomato, and this comes from the 1920s.
Yeah, this one threw me for a loop.
Josh said like a literal tomato, and this was actually a 1920s slang for an attractive woman. Don't know why.
Tomato.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So I
the
thought
Roaring '20s were a time.
The Roaring '20s were a time to be alive.
When was the Great Depression?
1920s, late 19. No. Yeah.
Did it come before or after the Roaring '20s?
It was after the Roaring '20s.
So it was like the
1920.
end of it, right?
I think was it 1929?
That sounds right to me, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Because it was after World War One, in between World War.
And it says that this phrase comes from the 20s, right?
Yeah.
So it just makes me think of like when the Great Depression hit and everybody was hungry.
Yeah.
They were just like, tomato sounds real good right now.
Yeah.
So that's like they equated it with a good-looking woman.
Right. And the next one was scratch. You said like made from scratch or like so home. It was actually referring to money, the idea of like scratching up funds.
Yeah, okay. I've heard that before.
Yeah. Then we went to hay burner, which you said somebody cutting up a rug, like dancing, things like that. Talk about another phrase that is never used
like
anymore.
A barn dance, yeah.
Yep. Is actually an expensive car or horse that costs more than what it's worth.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Because you're burning hay.
Yeah.
And then we had on the cuff, which, there it is. So on the cuff is buying something on credit or a tab.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't have gotten that one for sure.
Then we had a wet blanket, which you pretty much nailed. A person who spoils fun or enthusiasm. And then a fuddy-duddy along those same lines. But I think it's a little bit more poignant, kind of the point that you made. It's somebody who's old-fashioned or boring, like intentionally.
Yeah. Like so the wet blanket is just a matter of like a person's
Like
personality in a sense, but the fuddy-duddy is more of an intention.
Right.
It's like they're the type of person that just refuses to have fun in that sense. And
Exactly.
it's
Like they're very old-fashioned and things like that. But yeah, I thought that was kind of fun to do. Like
that was fun. Yeah.
Instead of just embarrassing you with, are you smarter than a fifth grader questions.
So now you guys can go back and grade yourselves based on the comments that you left for us from last week's episode and stuff.
Give your paper to a friend. You're going to grade, and then it'll be fun.
So we'll put up a post this week and just let us know how many you got correct.
Yeah.
From that, we'd love to hear about.
And how many that you're going to try to put into your vernacular as you go forward.
You're going to keep using from now on. Cool.
So, all right. On that note, good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Josh.
Recognize me?
No.
Well, I'm Josh.
I got suspended from school because of Josh.
You're going to be there with me in every way imaginable, Josh.
Josh is truly in a trance, yes.
I went to high school with Josh, and I can tell you right now, he's a terrific kisser.
Hi, I'm Josh.
Josh, these are people's jobs we're talking about, Josh.
Josh walking in the door wasn't even close.
Josh, you are a muffin-snuggling pirate puncher.
Josh is a good guy. We can talk to him.
Please welcome Joshua. Josh.
I'm gonna use that and then cut it right into that spot where we left off with that first little bit. All right, we want to jump in with a would you rather question.
Let's go.
This comes from my list that I worked along with our good friend ChatGPT to come up with after our discussion in the last episode about whether he will have a mind at any point in time, or she. I don't know what ChatGPT identifies as.
Let's not get into pronouns right now.
Yeah. So, my would you rather question for today is this. Would you rather be stuck in an elevator for 24 hours with a mime, and there's going to be more to this, so just hold tight, or be in a silent staring contest with a raccoon for 1 hour every morning for a week? Now, here's the caveats. If you lose the staring contest with the raccoon, it attacks you. As a bonus to this one, I added this on. If you mime anything in the elevator, the mime attacks you for mocking him. So you're stuck.
So I'm staring in a mirror.
So you're stuck in a mime,
Or-
stuck in
a mime.
A mirror. We're saying all kinds of things that are wrong. You're stuck in an elevator for 24 hours with a mime who will attack you if you mime
mock
anything at any point in time, or you have to spend an hour every morning for a week in a staring contest with a raccoon. If you lose the staring contest in any way, the raccoon attacks you.
So I guess what? So it.
And the mime is huge.
Okay, that was one of my questions. Like, is it a stereotypical like French mime where I'm probably sure if I sneeze on him he would fold?
It's not Pierre, the little twig mime from France.
No, it's the machine mime from Euro Trip.
Oh yeah.
And then staring in a mirror. I mean, a raccoon and man. So is it like standard? Like if you blink, it's done, or is it just like you can't break the stare?
No, I think it's full staring contest rule. So
like
if
you can't
you
blink,
you look away, any of that kind of stuff, then you lose. But it's an hour.
I mean, I feel like I could ignore unless the mime is baiting me into like mocking him. Like if he's like mocking me and then I'm like
I can just see the mime is like trying to do the thing where he like throws a rope around you and is like pulling you closer,
but like, what
and
if
you're
I
just sitting there staring.
But like, what if I play along with it? Like, does that count?
If you mime anything, he attacks you. And let's just say that he's like Terry Crews size.
I would take that, but I would vocalize everything that I do, so I could still play along with it. I'm not miming it at that point
because you're saying it out loud.
Because I'm saying it out loud. Like I'd be like, "Oh, you caught me! You caught me!" They'll be like,
pretty
man,
good.
there is a wall here. Like I can't find the door. Like that's how I would get out of it. I would do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fair.
100%.
That's fair play.
I tricked you.
Found the loophole.
But yeah, no, I would do that, and I would make it to the point where he would probably just decide to beat me up because I was I figured out his game.
This
Jeannie.
guy won't shut up. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Could you talk a little louder? I couldn't hear you.
So yeah, I too would also pick the mime, but only for the sake of not being attacked by a raccoon, because I don't think I could hold the stare for an hour every morning for a week.
Yeah, that's hard. Like, cause blinking and like your eyes drying, especially because I guess I could do it before I put my contacts in, but like,
Yeah. There's a little angry, blurry thing in front of me. Sasquatch, is that you?
that's another episode.
That's a different episode. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
All right, cool. What else you got for me today?
All right. So I wanna regale you with a story.
Okay.
One of my, I wouldn't say hyperfixations, but one of the things that I've always been fascinated with, and we've talked about it, a lot on here. Like, I love aviation, I love planes, helicopters, all that kind of stuff, because it's still, at 39 years old, it still blows my mind that planes can fly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they're designed in such a way that they want to stay in the air.
I was about to say that's the wild thing to me, is that they're like, yeah, once a plane's up, it actually wants to stay.
Yeah,
up.
it doesn't want to come down. Like, and we were talking because I think early on I got Josh hooked on a show. It was called Black Box Down. It was Rooster Teeth.
Yeah, Black Box Down was so good.
And honestly, like, it's a fairly family friendly podcast. Like, I would.
They use a little language here and there, but that's about the biggest thing.
Few
The
and
rest
far
of it is
between.
all
Like,
about.
Early episodes they did, but they kind of tapered off like towards the end.
Yeah.
But it was all about like aviation stuff, like, disasters, but it was what came out of those disasters to make the airline industry better.
Yeah. How do they keep improving things?
So like they talked about blimps, they talked about they didn't do any of the like conspiracy theory stuff, they didn't do any military stuff. It was all civilian aircraft.
Right.
So I was thinking, and this topic that I want to talk about has come up on a lot of podcasts I've listened to. I'm going to start off with kind of a little narration, because I haven't told Josh what this is about. All right, imagine flying over an endless ocean. Beneath you is nothing but blue. Ahead, nothing but the horizon. You've planned every detail, calculated every gallon of fuel, every degree of heading, but somehow the math stops working. The radio crackles, then dies, and then suddenly you're no longer on the map. For nearly a century, this case has haunted historians, investigators, and conspiracy theorists alike. A pilot who defied expectations, a mission that pushed the limits of human endurance, and a disappearance that became one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in history. Today, we're going to follow her trail from the runway to the clouds across 2,500 miles of open Pacific, until the signal goes silent. This is the story of Amelia Earhart.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know Amelia Earhart.
Yeah,
this is a fun one.
Yeah,
I do know some things about the story of Amelia Earhart, but not everything. That's for sure.
So before she became headlines, she was just Amelia, born July 24th, 1897, in Arkansas. Amelia Earhart was anything but ordinary. She was bold, curious, and endlessly fascinated with flight long before she ever set foot in a cockpit. By the time she reached her mid-20s, she had taken lessons from pioneering aviator Nita Snook, and soon to make her mark on history. In 1928, she became the first woman to fly as a passenger across the Atlantic, but that wasn't enough. 4 years later, in 1932, she piloted a Lockheed Vega solo across the Atlantic, shattering records and expectations alike. Basically, her success made her a global celebrity.
Right.
And it wasn't to say, so it took her actually 2 times flying across the Atlantic, which I honestly, I don't think I actually knew. So I think her first flight was just shy of 20 hours from New York, and then she basically landed in a field in Ireland. So she made the journey, but through calculations, things like that.
She was off on where she landed.
where she was going to land. So then her second trip, I believe, was even shorter. It was closer to just straight 19 hours. So she wasn't interested in the fame. She was chasing something bigger. And in 1937, she set her sights on her greatest challenge yet, becoming the first woman to circumnavigate the globe along the equator.
So I was glad to hear you say that it was 20 hours and 19 hours were the times that she took to fly across the Atlantic. Because that was something I always had questions about and never really dove into to look up and stuff like that. But I was thinking, like, how does one person stay awake like long enough? And that's a manageable time period and stuff like that. But
it's one of those things where you're limited by speed in this era.
Right.
You know, you're limited to the two props and things like that.
Yeah, because nowadays you could hop in a military jet and be in England in probably a matter of a couple hours.
Well, I think, I know we've talked about it on previous episodes. I think the fastest transcontinental flight was the SR-71 Blackbird, and it made it from LA to DC in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Which is flying from one side of the United States to the other side of the United States.
Which is ridiculous.
It's really, I also read another fact that the SR-71 Blackbird cannot turn around in the state of Ohio.
At speed, I'm assuming.
At speed, it cannot. It takes longer than it does to go from point A to point B across Ohio than it does to turn around. So we've come exponentially farther in the last 100 years in aviation.
Yeah.
Actually, less than 100 years.
Yeah, way less than 100
from early flight to where we are now. A little bit of backstory. Amelia Earhart grew up. She joined the war effort, World War I. She actually, her interest in flight took off, no pun intended. She actually was in the...
Yes, it was.
Sorry, I'm just going to try to land this one. Anyway, I believe she was working in the hospitals in Canada for their Air Force.
Okay.
So she was tending there. She was there, and then she got into flight, and then she learned from another aspiring pilot, female pilot, is where she took off her career in flight. On June 1st, 1937, 5 years later, her navigator, Fred Noonan, lifted off from Oakland, California in a silver Lockheed Model 10E Electra. Their plan, a 29,000-mile journey crossing continents, oceans, and carefully calculated segments. So basically, their planned route was from Oakland to Miami, South America, Africa, India, Southwest Asia, Laos, New Guinea, Howland Island, Hawaii, and then back to Oakland.
Okay.
So the thing was, that's not how their first flight was planned. So the first flight was actually planned the opposite direction. So they were going to start from west to east instead of east to west. So they were going to fly across the Pacific first.
Yeah. So right. Okay.
So then, because if you think about,
they were going to go in a westward rotation the whole way around the Earth, as opposed to, and they decided on eastward.
Yes, eventually
was the way to go eventually,
because they wanted to cross the more desolate, treacherous part first, rather than last.
Right.
So they had some issues and things like that in their first flight, because she tried this twice. So, like I said, the first one was her westward flight. They landed. She actually had influence because of her celebrity status, we'll call it. She had pull, like, from the government. There was this Howland Island. Basically, the only reason why it had a runway was because of her.
Oh, okay.
So basically, this was her attempt. She petitioned the government with their acquisition of these islands. She basically
said, "Hey, I'm coming." And they said, "All right, we'll build
she petitioned the U.S. president to build a runway on this island so she could do that. Because this island, if I remember correctly, and I don't know if I have it in my notes, but it was very, very small.
And what year was this?
This would have been FDR, because it was 1937.
Okay.
So she petitioned him to build this runway.
Okay.
By the time they reached New Guinea on June 29th, they had covered nearly 22,000 miles. So this is well into their journey. They've made it the majority of their way. They are sitting at 22,000 miles, and the journey was 29,000 miles. So there's 7,000 miles
left to go
in their journey. So only one treacherous leg remained, and that was the almost 2,600 mile stretch over the open Pacific to Howland Island. a speck of coral less than 2 miles wide. So it was less than 2 miles wide.
So
And like I think it was like a half a mile in like so it was
in the grand scheme
Yeah.
of things in the Pacific Ocean.
it's a pinprick.
nothing.
Yeah, it's a pinprick.
Yeah.
And we talked about like, you know, Point Nemo and things like that a couple episodes
Right.
ago where, you know, there is literally like you're closer to outer space than you are to land
Yeah.
in the Pacific Ocean. So naturally so, this is why she wanted to tackle this first, but everything didn't go right
Sure.
when they landed on their first go around. They damaged equipment. Like she was getting ready to take off, and I forget if it was a rudder or a tail wing kind of dipped and turned, and then it broke the landing gear, so they had to stop, and it took about 3 months to fix.
Got to make repairs and stuff, and then
Which actually her radio operator ended up leaving, so it was just the two of them. So basically, kind of taking a step back, kind of looking at a bigger overview of this, because we're, you know, at kind of a good spot. They made this plane as light as possible, with as much fuel as possible, with as little supplies as possible.
Right.
So this will kind of dig into our theories and things like that. They only took enough changes of clothes for comfort.
right.
They didn't take, you know, more than what they needed. They put more fuel. They stripped the plane down inside and out.
Yeah.
They had radio antennas, and I'm not going to try to even get into the science of radio, because she used a very... Oh, and another thing I didn't mention, with her connections in the government, because of the patrols and stuff in the Pacific Ocean, she was able to have the Navy position ships in a way to where she could use the frequencies to transmit back and forth.
Okay. Yeah. So she's using a shorter wave radio,
Right.
in order to reach.
Yeah.
Like she's basically bouncing from her plane down to the ships and stuff like that are scattered throughout the
Right.
Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
So she has constant contact to be able to.
Right.
figure
So,
out.
you know, you go on different wavelengths, the megahertz and things like that. Like I said, I'm not going to pretend to understand how that works.
I don't get all of it either. I understand enough of it to know that it was probably extremely lighter
Right.
for her plane for her to have a small shortwave
So-
radio than to have.
the long wave antennas and things like that, because you have to have a certain value of antenna based on frequency.
Right.
So I think you have to have an eighth of an inch for every frequency that you go up.
Okay.
So she wanted to have the shortest possible to reduce drag, to reduce all that kind of stuff. So she would be able to transmit, and at one point she would send out a signal to transmit Morse code back. So what she actually was doing was she was using the signals when they were bouncing back to triangulate her position.
Right.
Because obviously you don't have GPS, you don't have global, you don't have satellites, you don't have any of that. So she was, and you have, with small aircraft, you have what's called VFR rules, which is visual flight rules. You're in the middle of the ocean, you have no landmarks.
Right.
Oh, that wave kind of looks like this, and that wave looks like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's different weather phenomenons, different wave phenomenons.
Didn't we see that whale before?
Yeah. Cow, another cow. But it's one
Nebraska?
of those. Yeah. It's one of those things where the way that she was doing this flight was very thought out
Yeah.
until it wasn't.
That's what I'd say.
Until
It's well planned until the plan falls apart.
at 10 a.m. on July 2nd, 1937, the Electric took off. They carried 1,100 gallons of fuel, relying on precise navigation and radio communication with the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Itasca, stationed near Howland Island. So like I said, this was one of those things where she had things strategically placed out.
Right.
They had frequencies that they would only transmit on, and at certain times they would do this. I think they would send out a constant A in Morse code. So it's like dot dash at intervals so she could triangulate their position.
Gotcha.
Throughout the night, Earhart's voice crackled over the radio, growing weaker with each transmission. At 8:43 a.m., she sent her final confirmed message. We are on the line 157337, running north and south. And then nothing. No distress call, no coordinates, just silence.
Interesting.
Here's the thing that I take out of this. Running north and south.
Yeah. That does sound weird in a sense.
Because you should be going east and west.
Well, but was she
But
she
they were
giving
trying to
coordinates-
find the island. Is what they're interpreting this as. So they're going north, and they know roughly where this island is.
So read the thing again.
It says, "We are on line 157337, 337 running north and south.
See, I take that as because she's on a westward rotation
Eastward.
around the Earth, right?
Eastward. She's going east. She's coming. She's
I thought
going west.
I thought
to
the
east.
first time she went
She
east,
was
and the
going-
second time
no,
she went west.
No. The first time she went west because she wanted to cross the Pacific first.
This time she's saving the
She's
Pacific
going.
for
She's
last.
going. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're crossing the Pacific Ocean.
So
right now.
either way, she's heading she's heading on a west to east trajectory around the Earth.
Correct.
And I see that as she's saying as we're heading east, we're at the line that runs north to south of
Okay.
these. You know what I'm saying? Like so, she was using that as we're navigating around the globe that we've hit this line, and that's where currently find ourselves in a sense. So, but yeah, it could have been too that they, like you said, they were searching for the island.
So essentially, there was a miscommunication because she transmitted through telegraph. There was a miscommunication through radio frequency. So she was having a hard time receiving their radio transmissions.
Okay.
And it was also because of the length of her antenna.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So one of those things, if you ever see like those huge antennas on cars, now you know why. It's because they're trying to pick up different wavelengths, different frequencies, things like that.
Those creepy guys that ride around with the CB radio things on the trunk of their car.
The Itasca was sending out a signal, a predetermined signal, but what she was trying to do is she was trying to locate it not in the sound, but the silence.
Okay.
So as it grew silent, she was like, okay, I'm getting closer, because a lot of things, and you'll see this even with cell phones, with modern cell phones, the closer you are to a tower, the more your reception is interfered with, because there's too much of that wavelength being sent out.
Oh, okay,
so
I see what you're saying.
it's becoming jarbled.
Right.
But if you turn away, the signal gets better. So you're trying to not necessarily, you're going from that really good to really silent really quick.
Yeah.
And being able to, I was listening to a YouTube video because I was at work and I couldn't really watch it, but they were able to actually position themselves with this method, but focusing on the silent rather than the sound.
Yeah.
Because the sound is traveling past you, so you're looking for that gap.
Gotcha.
So this is kind of the final 24 hours of the flight. So July 1st, 1937, the final fueling in New Guinea. July 2nd at 10 a.m., they depart from New Guinea. So on July 2nd at 6:14 a.m., which is Howland time, so you've crossed the date line.
Right.
First contact with the Itasca. At 7:42, Amelia reports running low on fuel. So just an hour and a half later, she's like, hey, I'm running low on fuel. At 8:43, and this is all in the second, at 8:43, the last confirmed transmission from her was received. And then they started a search pretty much immediately after that. And then on July 19th, 1937, the search was officially called off. 17 days, so just over 2 weeks, they were trying to search. And I mean, you have a giant it's even hearkening to current or more modern things like what is it, the Malaysia Flight 700?
Yeah.
Where you have an idea of where they're supposed to be, not an idea of where they are.
Right.
So you're going on this, so they're searching and trying to find nothing is happening. That's kind of the timeline, the story, kind of a very brief overview, because like a lot of these things we kind of want to give you the broad strokes, fill in a little bit of the detail, but
Right.
like, you know, we want you guys to go and kind of look and look into these things for yourself too. So what happened next inspired decades of investigation, some theories relying on hard evidence, others drift into speculation. So we're going to start with the most plausible theory of what happened to Amelia Earhart, and then kind of work towards our fringe topics.
Okay. So to be clear, because I'm terrible about knowing where any of this stuff is, she was nowhere close to the Bermuda Triangle.
No, that Bermuda Triangle is Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
So it's think of
Like
the
I said,
Bermuda.
I'm terrible about geography, so
So that's fine. Think about like the Bermuda Triangle is in like the Bahamas. So it's it's that area. I've sailed in and out of the Bermuda Triangle numerous times. Explains a lot, right?
It explains everything.
I have about seven theories ranking from the most plausible to completely outlandish.
Okay.
And some of these, like, you know,
So number 7's the one I'm going to believe.
well, I wouldn't say that. So
So first theory is she's running low on fuel, as she's already told us.
Mm-hmm.
that she is searching for the island and runs out of fuel. Crash lands in the Pacific Ocean somewhere. Plane sinks. She may have gotten onto a raft, but eventually dies in the Pacific Ocean.
Pretty much. Basically, the crash and sink theory. So this is the most accepted theory. So Earhart ran out of fuel and ditched into the ocean near Howland, supported by Navy search patterns and fuel calculations. So it's one of those things where our mind probably wants to reach on to these theories and things like that in a modern context. So I think of, have you ever watched the movie Planes?
I don't think so.
So it's basically like Cars, but just airplanes, like Dusty Crop Hopper.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Where he's doing the circumnavigating the world rally race or whatever it is, and he winds up in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and then he gets picked up by the F-14 Tomcats.
Okay,
like that's what my mind kind of like, running out of fuel, nowhere to go, needs to ditch in the ocean kind of thing. The only weakness of this theory is no wreckage has ever been recovered. And that's one thing that needs to be said, is no wreckage has ever been found of this plane.
Yeah, but that's like, I mean, when you take it in the perspective of how big the Pacific Ocean is, how far she potentially could have been off course, because they did not have proper tracking back then as far as like what we think of now and stuff. Yeah, that, I mean, the fact that they didn't find any wreckage doesn't mean anything to the story to me, because it's like that's quite literally looking for the tip of a needle that got broken off in a haystack. Like, it's ridiculous to think about how many square miles there are of ocean out there.
Oh yeah, and how deep the ocean is there.
How small her plane was in comparison. So I just I understand why they have to throw that in there, but at the same time, I'm just like that.
You can't call it confirmed because there has been no wreckage found.
Yeah.
Or no,
they can't say for sure. This is exactly. We know this is exactly what happened to her.
This
but
is more than likely. Yeah, this is more than likely what happened.
Right.
Number 2, it's a Nukamoro hypothesis, which I love that they don't even call it a theory.
Yeah.
They landed or crashed on the Nukamoro Atoll, which is about 350 miles southeast of Howland Island. The evidence for this theory is they found aluminum fragments, a woman's shoe, and skeletal remains found in 1940. So it's a little bit more concrete, but the weakness in this was, obviously, the DNA is not conclusive.
Right.
And it wasn't specifically aluminum fragments from the Electra, from the plane that she was flying.
Yeah, okay. They just found some things that seem like they could be loosely like connected to it,
but nothing definitive.
Yeah, okay.
This is where we start to get into the more. This is the borderline where it kind of turns into conspiracy.
Okay.
So number 3, and this part of me wants to kind of lean into this one because it makes some sense, especially given the geographic location. So this is the Japanese capture theory. And this is one that gets thrown out a lot, actually. Basically, she overshot Howland Island and landed in the Marshall Islands, which were captured by Japanese forces. Eyewitness accounts claim 2 foreign aviators were taken into custody, and then there's no official Japanese records to confirm this. Which
this was the Marshall Islands, you said?
Yes.
So that's a place that I've always wanted to go. Just a real weird side note.
Yeah.
So so the idea is that basically they like either landed or crash landed in the Marshall Islands. That the Japanese were there, didn't know who they were or didn't care, and arrested them. I took them into captivity and stuff like that.
And the 2 holes that I can poke into this very easily is, one, I mean, granted, she does have military experience working in the hospital, so she obviously knows not to give up her name, no name, no rank, no serial number, blah, 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 blah. But
she's also a celebrity, though.
Exactly. Presumably so, they would know who this is, but given the culture of Japan, who's to say that they didn't care?
Right.
Because they are a very patriarchal, driven culture.
Right.
So seeing a woman having accomplishments, they would have issues with that.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of one of those things where I kind of can see that being plausible.
Yeah, it's a possibility to it, but doesn't seem as likely as the
Right.
first scenario where it's more likely that she just went down.
Yeah,
and-
unfortunately crashed and everything like that. The next one is the Saipan prison story, kind of same line that she died in a Japanese prison on Saipan. There are multiple unverified graves that were excavated but no matching remains.
Yeah.
Theory number 5, this is where it starts to kind of get down in that deep iceberg. This was all actually a spy mission from FDR.
Okay.
So
All
basically,
right.
this suggests that Earhart's flight, quote unquote, doubled as a U.S. reconnaissance against Japan. The disappearance was covered up to avoid diplomatic fallout, and this is obviously just purely circumstantial. Right
Yeah.
time, right place for this theory to gain traction, to seem valid. It's one of those
Sure.
things where it's like,
To a degree, yeah, I could kind of see it.
this one is interesting. This one I didn't know.
But that's like a whole heck of a lot of planning and risk leading up to the
Right.
time that she would be trying to spy on Japan and stuff. And so
Right.
it's like, would you would like military wise, you're thinking it's just a better way to do it to send an aircraft carrier out into the Pacific Ocean and just fly a plane over if you're trying to do reconnaissance stuff like that. So,
But again, like we've talked about, and we'll kind of get into with our cryptid, like hiding.
that the government is not the smartest when it comes to
No, I think, and this is tinfoil hat time. You know, the government is a lot smarter than we give them credit for, but they make themselves seem dumb.
yeah.
Because one, I think and know, and I'm glad that the government doesn't tell us anything, that they kind of make themselves seem inept, that they actually know what they're doing. Because
Sure.
if we knew everything the government knew, that we would all be wearing tinfoil hats and never leave our homes.
Maybe. Yeah. Or
It's-
maybe we just wouldn't trust our government anymore.
Like, you trust your government?
Well, we don't, but a lot of people do.
Like, you telling me they don't lie about anything? I have 3 kids, and I lie to them all the time.
Yeah.
Just to protect them and make sure that they're safe.
Sure.
But anyway, the limited number of people that would know that this is a reconnaissance mission kind of leads credence to that, because if something happens to 2 people, those are the only 2 people that know about it. Like, your
Yeah. It's
degrees
like
of...
the guys at the top of the government aren't going to say anything about it because they were the ones
Exactly.
who were trying to pull off
Exactly.
this
So, like,
mission.
like this is where everything kind of goes downhill from here
Sure.
for here. This next theory I didn't actually know about, but as I was listening to these podcasts and things and videos that researching this, it's the Irene Bolam theory.
Irene Bolam. Okay.
Yes. So if this one claims that Earhart actually survived and returned under a new identity as Irene Bolam. So she shared a lot of the physical characteristics from Amelia Earhart, basically that she basically wanted to start a new life. But she had a family back home, like she had a husband. So the holes in this one are, just to start off with, like, why would she abandon? And why would she do it this globally? I guess maybe to give a little bit more weight to her just being dead.
Yeah.
But Bolam, who was a real person, denied it, and then DNA testing actually debunked this claim completely.
Okay.
Like somebody wrote a book about this theory.
Yeah.
And basically she ended up suing that person who wrote it because it was factually inaccurate. And like you can't even find the book anywhere else anymore.
That's interesting.
So number 7, can you guess where this one goes?
Alien abduction.
Alien abduction,
Hey.
UFO. We got there. UFO or
That's where all the good theories end.
extraterrestrial involvement, cited by conspiracy theorists due to proximity of later UFO hotspots. The bloop, all that kind of stuff is
Yeah.
in this general area. I mean, and we can say general area because, you know,
Generally.
there's nothing in these areas. Like
Yeah,
we talked about, like there's, you know, you're closer, you're
Just massive parts of the Pacific Ocean with nothing. in
just
them.
absolute nothing. And obviously there's no supporting evidence whatsoever, but it's still
Right.
a talking point in paranormal circles.
So I'm going to add number 8 on this list. I think that it would at least be like worth adding to the list the plausibility that Amelia Earhart just didn't like or couldn't handle the celebrity status that she had gotten for all that she had accomplished. And so she set this all up as a giant ruse to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And that she landed somewhere
And just never looked back.
Yeah, or put destroyed the plane or sunk it in an ocean or something like that, and then disappeared off into the jungles of whatever place out there.
North Sentinel Island.
Yeah. Jeez, can you imagine?
Tied it all back to Rockefeller.
But what if her and her radio guy just started a new life together somewhere out there? Because she was only 39 years old
right
when she disappeared.
Yeah.
And so that's I don't know. I was kind of looking at that and was like, maybe. Who knows?
So in the end, Amelia Earhart became more than an aviator. She became a symbol of daring ambition and humanity's endless desire to push beyond the map's edge.
Yeah, she's a legend, dude.
Yeah,
I would never do what she did.
There's a part that they don't put in the history books. In 2019, a classified report quietly circulated among the defense analysts in deep water sonar scans of the Pacific revealed an anomalous metallic debris in an area that's just outside of the original search grid.
Okay.
A place never before explored. The data remains locked away, unpublished, and while no official statement has ever been confirmed, what was found out, one line buried in the appendix stands out. Consistent with known Lockheed Electric dimensions.
So they found something in the Pacific Ocean that seems to match the size and shape of her plane.
Correct.
And
just outside of the search parameters.
Which makes you wonder is like with things like this, with the disappearance of Amelia Earhart and many other things that we'll probably dive into on our podcast over time, are some of these things just, in a sense, I don't know how to word this. Are they stories that the people, the powers that be, just deemed to be worthy of perpetuating? You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, yeah, we've got answers to this stuff, but why ruin the fun that people have in hypothesizing about what happened to Amelia and stuff when we could,
Why give the people exactly what they've been asking for since the late 30s?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know that the government
right.
and the news agencies control the information that we get. And
80 years later, you have a document saying that, hey, we probably found it. But the other thing is, it's literally under 7 miles of ocean.
Right. Yeah. It's like, good luck getting to that.
7 miles of ocean.
Which consequently, as far as we made it into the earth. So
exactly. Basically, until we find the actual wreckage of that Electra, the story of Amelia Earhart lives on. And I think even once we find it, it kind of puts a nice bow on the whole thing. Not that I'm trying to think, even if at that depth, with things being made out of aluminum at that point in time, how well preserved it would be.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be a good question to ask, because I don't know what the effects of salt water is on aluminum in that sense. Especially for, at that time period, knowing.
Yeah.
Because we've come a long ways as far as our ability to protect metals and stuff like that since then.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that'd be a great question to find out. Is
could we actually figure out what happened? I mean, naturally, she got lost. I mean, I think that's the easiest explanation. She got lost.
Was running low on fuel already and stuff.
Yeah, and I think she became overconfident on her ability to use the radio technology that she had kind of implemented.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I hate to say that was the downfall of it, but also not having your Morse code operator and it just being the two of them.
Right.
I think that kind of led to that detriment of not being able to find the right place to triangulate correctly. And, the miscommunications obviously didn't help. Yeah. Like I said, go check out anything about it. Like, it's a fascinating story regardless. Yeah. I mean,
It is. And what still a testament, regardless of the fact that she didn't make the full circumnavigation, a testament to an amazing woman with amazing abilities.
Right.
I mean, just the fact that she made it as far as she did, that she did the transatlantic twice.
Right.
I mean, all that kind of stuff. Like, she was a phenomenal person.
Oh, absolutely. And in a time where women were not thought to be able to accomplish much.
Yeah, oh yeah. Even bigger so, like the chips were stacked against her.
Oh, 100%.
In so many ways. And Amelia Earhart just said, you know what? You can keep your system. I'm going to do things my way, and I'm going to prove that women are capable of doing all the things that we can do and stuff. And I think she's definitely a person that is admirable, a person who was brave in so many ways, because I could never imagine trying to do what she did. In modern day context, I wouldn't try to do what she did.
100%. It's one of those things where like I'm crazy enough that I kind of want to do a what's called a transfer cruise, which is even more crazy. So a transfer cruise is, you know how they have cruise ships in the Caribbean and things like that.
Yeah.
Certain ships will actually go, they'll spend our summers in the Atlantic in the Bahamas. And then in the winter season, when we're at winter here, they will actually transition across the Atlantic to the Mediterranean and do Mediterranean cruises there. I want to be on that cruise that goes across the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Not me, dude.
Yeah. I mean,
so this is going to have to be a future episode, but Brooke and I just watched the documentary on the poop cruise.
oh my gosh. Yes.
And so after watching that, like number one, because of my motion sickness and stuff like that, I can't do a cruise anyways.
See, I've only ever gotten, because I get car sick if I'm reading, and I don't suffer from severe motion sickness, but like, to be honest, unless you're looking out the window, you don't know you're moving.
Oh, nah. See, we went on a cruise once, and I knew.
Really?
Oh, like...
Yeah, I could never...
As soon as we got away from port and we're, like, out in the ocean, I was like...
Ironically enough...
Oh, I'm going to toss my
The
cookies.
only time I ever felt that we were moving was on a Carnival cruise.
Oh, yeah. but after watching the poop cruise stuff, I was like... number one... We'll talk about this later because there's too much to get into now. But like, there was some absurdity around the poop cruise stuff
gosh.
that could have been avoided. But at the same time, no. Like I can't imagine being like motion sick, because you say like for you, your motion sickness is not that bad. I can get motion sickness thinking about somebody else driving a car. So like mine's horrific.
Yeah.
And I can definitely tell it like in situations like that. But then there's the fact that we're traversing the ocean. What's in the ocean, what's possible while you're out there, the poop cruise story, the whole 9 yards. It's a combination of everything.
That was just, it was so poorly handled by Carnival. Because
dude,
we'll talk about it later.
That's a whole nother episode type of
because
thing.
Because it is a wild trip.
It's a crazy one. So
that or being stuck on the people that got stuck on the cruise ship during the pandemic.
Yeah, that one's wild too.
Months out at sea,
which is like at first you're like sweet, and then in a very short amount of time you're like,
get me the crap off of this boat.
Scenario.
I will swim.
Yeah, exactly. I'll swim home. So. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed the story of Amelia Earhart today and our funny quips with our beginning question of whether you'd want to be stuck in an elevator with a mime,
right,
or in a staring contest with an angry raccoon. Either way, we hope that you guys will take an opportunity. Let us know, like, what would you pick, the mime or the raccoon?
Right.
Give us your feedback on the Amelia Earhart thing. What do you think is the most plausible of the different possibilities of what they said could have happened to her? And then make sure you go take an opportunity to check out our link tree. So if you're looking for any of our social media stuff, where to listen to the podcast at, all those good types of things, you can find them all on our link tree. Everything's there in one consolidated place. The link for it is in the description of this episode. You can also find it on any of our other places where we post stuff. We usually have that link included in just about everything. And so go use all that stuff. And then Josh is going to tell you a little bit about what to do on all of our social media pages.
Yeah, so if you go on our social media pages, make sure you like and follow, because you can like and not follow and not like. Not necessarily that we want to have a huge fan base, but it helps push our content to other people. It's one of those things, we don't run sponsored ads, we don't run anything like that. We just kind of are relying on your word of mouth to get us out into the algorithm. And the same thing with giving us 5 stars and things like that on our podcast platforms. It helps us push to different lists so people can find us. Like I said, we're not trying to do this to get rich. It'd be nice, but that's not our main goal. We just love hanging out with each other. Right. I'm not going to say we won't, but if we did.
And for you guys, like you know this as well as we do, that you're more apt to try something out or to go and give a podcast a listen if your friends recommend it to you. And so
absolutely.
If you enjoy listening, why not take an opportunity to reach out to somebody?
Yep.
You can right now just like click the share thing on whatever device you're listening to this on. share it with a friend and let them know, like, hey, these two guys are idiots, but they talk about some fun topics,
Right.
and maybe you'd like to listen along with them.
Exactly. And, go ahead and even if you want to share our link tree, in the top corner, there's the buttons to where you can copy the link. Just go ahead and share it, on Facebook, Instagram, whatever platform that you use.
That'd be awesome. We appreciate you guys very much. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we will plan on seeing you in episode 39. We'll talk to you guys soon. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, no, that's what I told you I was doing that.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
You didn't. Because that's the one that I
No,
had,
I'm
like,
doing the Flatwoods Monster. Sorry. I started
you
with
turned
the intro.
Ferguson. I was
well,
like,
no, because in